Hi guys, and welcome to Fairy Goes Fishing. This is actually my first YouTube video, so if you're watching this, thank you. It means a lot that you're watching it. I won't ask you to like and subscribe or anything like that at the moment, because far too early to know whether you want to do that or not. But tell you a little bit about the lake I'm fishing. So I'm down at Chartham Lakes, which is in Kent, on a ticket called Kent Wildfowlers Gold Ticket. It's a membership that I'm on. And the ticket's got about 10 lakes, but there's 3 at Chartham Lakes, and I'm on a lake called Milton Lake, which is a bit of a mixed water actually. It's got a fair head of carp, but it's got a few tench and bream and things like that in it as well, some big roach. But I'm going to be targeting the carp, which is going to be the main theme of my channel really, hence the name Fairy Goes Carp Fishing. I do a bit of catfishing occasionally and sturgeon and things like that, but predominantly it's going to be carp. So the water's a little bit of an unknown. It's probably the least desirable of the 3 lakes down here at Chartham Lakes, just because the other 2 lakes down here go to sort of just below 40 pound carp. This one's believed to be around a 30 pound mark, something like that, as the biggest one's in here. But like I say, it's a bit of an unknown because it doesn't get targeted for the carp that often because of the other 2 lakes on here. So I thought I'd give it a little go. Got here probably about 4 hours ago now, but only had the rods in about half an hour. Have a couple of walks round, not really seen a lot to go on. Spoke to 2 chaps who are fishing it as well, and they recommended a swim, and I had a lead about in there for about an hour. Struggled to find clear spots really. I found one clear spot there. It's a very weedy lake, whereas I've come to this very far swim that doesn't get fish very often, just because convenience I suppose, and managed to find like a bay area which is really clean. Nice drop, lead's sort of dragging really smoothly along there, so I've really got both my rods in there. You can actually fish 3 rods. I brought a 3rd rod, but I've just brought a float, a surface fishing rod, and I've thrown a few floaters out, but nothing really seems to be coming up at the moment. But I'll try again tomorrow morning with that maybe. So I'll just have 2 on the bottom tonight. And to be honest, that bay, I wouldn't want more than 2 rods in there. And there's no other spots I'd particularly want to fish. Like I say, it is very weedy in most of the other spots. So yeah, that's what I'm going with for now. Like I say, rod's been in about half an hour and I've already had a couple of knocks on my right rod. So hopefully that's not bream. But we're hoping for a couple of carp. What I'll do is, if I do have some carp, I'll do a little film of them on the bank, show you if I've caught anything, and the plan is tomorrow I'll show you some rigs and things like that I've got set up, some of the baits I'm using, which will obviously be a bit more meaningful if we manage to catch 1 or 2. But yeah, I'll speak to you soon, hopefully when I've got 1 on the bank. Okay, so there is fish number 1. I think the time's about 3:30 in the morning, something like that. Pretty small one, I'd say. Maybe just under 10 pounds, something like that. Scrape a double if I'm lucky. Yeah, I'll talk to you about the tactics and things tomorrow, but I thought I'd just update you with the first catch. Well, this is fish number 2, and this one definitely comes with a story. About 10 minutes ago, my middle rod's gone ripping off, and it's tried to run me straight into some reeds, and I've managed to sort of guide it out of the reeds, walked back a little bit, and then it's immediately carted to my left, and I'll show you it in a little bit, is a big tree essentially, and it's ran across that way, so I've tried to bring it back to the right, but it's managed to sort of get the line caught on the end of the tree, and unfortunately it's managed to tether itself to the end of the tree. So yeah, I've just had a nice fresh dip at 6:15 this morning, so I've had to go in, walk out to where the fish is, untether it, took the net with me and managed to net it out in the water and bring it back. So yeah, this little one's caused me quite a morning. Okay, well, to give you a little bit of perspective, my I've got one rod, my left rod sort of way out to the left here, and you'll see this is the tree to my left, so pretty pretty large tree, and it managed to snag me right on the end corner, just on here, so I just had to walk out to there. Very silty lake, and weedy lake, as I mentioned yesterday. Thick silt leading up to there, so that was coming up to about my knee. And I was fishing, I had the bite from right in the middle of this little bay here, and then the bite I had last night was just on the corner of the bay here, so that's where I've had my 2 bites from. My left rod, I should have said, is on a zig actually, just to catch them a foot or so under the surface. Not had anything on that one just yet, but yeah, that's my setup. You've got a little bit of an idea of where I've caught the fish from now, how it's done me on well, didn't do me in the end, I suppose, but made me get in the lake to unfree it on that snag. But yeah, that's what it's looking like down in this corner. It is actually just over 4 acres, this lake, so it's a pretty big lake. I'm in the very far corner, which very rarely gets fished, truth be told. As you can see, it sort of ends with this tree line, which I had a lead about around, and actually it was pretty silty. It didn't feel like an area fish feed on, which is why I'm predominantly fishing that reed line, which feels really smooth. Really happy with how that felt. So yeah, a little bit later on today, I'll sort of show you my rig setup and things like that, and hopefully have some more fish. Just to kind of prove the story I'm telling you isn't made up, here is my pants drying on the top of the on the bivvy. So yeah, it was a fresh start to the day.
Oh my God!
There we go. So this is fish number 3. Another long, lean, dark, common, really nice colours. I hope that's coming up across well on the camera. But they're really dark, sort of chestnut brown colour, beautiful. Again, around 10 pounds, so sort of similar size to the first 2. But yeah, 3 fish now. This was off the middle rod again, so that's the second bite off that middle rod. Managed to wipe out my my right line. So yeah, bit of a nuisance that he's done that, so I'm going to redo both my middle and right rods, but that gives me a good opportunity to kind of show you the rigs I'm using before I send those back out. But yeah, going okay so far. 3 fish, like I say. Got another few hours or so, so hopefully get 1 or 2 more, maybe one of the bigger ones in here. I know there's, like I said yesterday, quite a few 20s going up to about £30, maybe just under, so it'd be nice to get one of those big ones. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to show you what I'm working with at the moment. So I've got about 12 inches of rig tubing, just to kind of keep that my line on the bottom of on the bed. Like I say, that it is very weedy and silty on this lake. However, I'm not fishing in that deep silt or that weed. I've taken the time to find clear spots, as I explained yesterday. So back on that reedy bay that I've had, well, all of my fish from, it's really nice and hard and smooth back there. So I want to be right on the bottom of the lake with that. Then just got a 2 ounce lead, and then I'm using coated braid, and I always prefer to use soft coated braid. I just think it kind of can move, it can sit on that bottom, so if you've got little lumps and bumps, it can sort of still lay really nice and flat on the lake bed. And then I'll just kind of come in for you using a size 4 gripper hook. That's from Tackle Empower. That's where I use all my hooks from. I think their hooks are excellent. I've used many companies over the years, and I find their hooks are spot on, both in terms of sharpness but also durability. I think you can get in a position where hooks can be sort of so thinly made that after you've caught a fish, that's the end of it. Whereas I'd probably have a few fish on these. Always give it a little test just to make sure it's still sharp, So I don't know if anyone knows this rule, but you drag the hook, and if that hook moves, if it drags across your thumb, it's not sharp enough to go out there again. So always give it a little test before you send it back out. You can see on there what I use is D-rigger liners. So these are a little bit of a lazy or an easy way to set up D-rigs. I just find them deadly. I think they do me so well. It's so simple to set up because you're simply tying a knot onto the hook, slipping your D-liner on. It's got a micro swivel. You can see there a little micro swivel on the D-rigger liner, and then I'm using a little wafter. So what that will do is the hook will lay flat on the lake bed, and then this will just waft over the top of it like that. So if a fish comes to pick up some of your baits, that's going to be first to pop in its mouth because of that buoyancy of it. Again, D-rigger liners from Tackle Power. They're just a great product. Again, I've tried other ones and they're a bit too stretchy, so the D bit stretches. These seem to be spot on. The wafter of choice, like I say, is Turner Baits. It's an amnesia squid. That's done 2 of my bites. Trying out another little bait that I won in a competition recently. So some Carp Basics, I think it's All Nut, I think it's called, which has done me 1 bite as well on its first try, so that's good. But generally my go-to baits are Turner Baits. So I use amnesia squid or a maple nut, depending on the lake, the situation. This time of year, my go-to is a kind of fishy-based bait. So amnesia squid has done me really well over the last couple of years. So I don't tend to kind of vary from that too much. But yeah, so very straightforward. You'll notice the rig is fairly long. I'd say it's probably about 7 inches, something like that, which is fairly long, just because we are fishing near silt. If it was a tiny bit silty, obviously I've checked the spots I'm casting to. But if it was a tiny bit silty, at least you've got a little bit of distance from that lead. So if that lead does plug a little bit, where you've got the soft braid as well, it should still be presented really, really nicely. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. They're going out with a little PVA mesh bag with a little bit of pellet and a couple of boilie around it. But I'm fishing for a bite really. I'm not putting a lot of bait in at the moment. That spot's now done a few fish, so I might put a little bit more in. But yeah, I won't be going crazy on this lake because, like I say, they're not often targeted on this lake, the carp. So I don't want to give them too much food because that will probably be a bit of a red flag for them. So yeah, that's my rigs. Well, it's just about 1 o'clock now. Not had anything since this morning, so since about 10 o'clock it seems to have sort of switched off a little bit. Looks a lot calmer, no fish showing. Yeah, it's definitely died off a little bit. So I'm probably going to pack up in about half an hour and head off. It's Sunday afternoon, so get a couple of hours at home, keep the wife happy. But yeah, unfortunately couldn't have any more, but still, first trip on this lake, 3 fish, I'm pretty happy with that. And like I say, unless I get something in the next 30 minutes, this will be my last bit of this video. If you had liked the video, or you got any comments, any feedback, let me know yeah, in the comments, because like I say, this is my first video, so I appreciate your feedback. Future videos I'm going to try and do some more sort of action shots, so if we have a fish on, playing the fish a little bit and things like that, and I've got ways in which I can film that a little bit. But yeah, any feedback is great. Hope you like the video, and yeah, hopefully catch you in the next one.
A few moments later.
Well, would you believe it? I'm just packing down, almost done. My left rod melts off. Look into it, and it's clearly something a bit bigger than what I've caught so far on this trip. Felt pretty decent. Naturally it ran to the reeds, but I've sort of locked it up quite tight and brought it away from the reeds, got it into open water, started to relax a little bit. Hook pull. And I can only think, I said, in that middle water it's very, very weedy, and I can only think that weed has just dislodged that hook somehow. Gutted, because it definitely felt like a bigger fish, but that's the way fishing goes sometimes. I thought that was going to be a nice little end to this video again, but a little bit of bad news to end on, but that's how fishing goes. Anyway, see you on the next one.
Big man thing, yeah? It's not looking good, Bev. It's not looking good.